Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We're Tom and Melissa and we sure do appreciate that you're here for our video. As you can tell, we're not home. We are in Florida and we're in a rental house at the beach. We are having breakfast for dinner this evening and we are going to have scrambled eggs, sausage patties, biscuits and gravy, and we are going to make orange cranberry muffins to go with our breakfast. So we thought we'd bring you along to make the orange cranberry muffins. Now, to start, we need to preset our oven to 425 degrees, and we have already done that. Now let's talk about what we're going to use to make our orange cranberry muffins. We're going to start with 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, we're going to add 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of sugar, and we will stir those together to start with. Then we'll add our wet ingredients. We will add 2 eggs, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and you can see that I have already melted that, and you want that to cool slightly. It's not going to hurt if you put it in hot, but if you can let it sit for a couple of minutes to cool, it will help. 1/4 cup of oil, some kind of vegetable oil, canola oil. We're going to use 1 cup of buttermilk, and I much prefer the whole fat buttermilk. Low fat buttermilk just does not have the flavor. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We're also going to use the zest of half of a lemon. Now, I have started zesting it so you could see it there, but I have not finished. We're going to use the zest of half a lemon in our muffins, and the zest from the other half of the, did I say lemon?
I think you did.
It's an orange. Oh my gosh. It's the zest of half an orange in the mix and the zest of the other half of an orange in the glaze we're going to put on top. So I have started zesting that orange, but I'm going to finish it in a minute with you. We're also going to add 1.5 cups of Craisins. And I have already soaked those. Can you see those, Melissa?
Yes.
I have already soaked those in water so that they kind of plump up. You don't want them hard and dry in your muffins. So I have soaked those, and now I'm going to drain them because they have set long enough. I just put them in warm water, and I've let them set for probably 15 minutes or so, just so that they kind of rehydrate.
Have you ever used fresh or frozen?
I have, and the fresh are okay. I'm not a huge fan of fresh cranberries because they're hard. And even when they bake, they tend not to soften up a whole lot. So if I was going to use cranberries that weren't dried, like Craisins, I would probably use the frozen. It might make them just a little softer, but I'm just going to tell you, Craisins are delicious. So I recommend you do that. Now, before we start mixing things...
What about the
powdered sugar? Yes, we have powdered sugar, and we will use some powdered sugar with the juice from the other half of the orange and the zest from the other half of the orange to make our glaze. Now, before I start mixing everything in my flour, I'm going to drain my Craisins and put them in a bowl. I dropped a few. And I'm going to mix just a tablespoon or so of flour. And you can notice I saved some in here. That's because I want to have a few to put on top of the muffins before we bake them. All right, so let me grab a spoon here. And I'm just going to take a good spoonful of that flour and sift over top of those, sprinkle over top of those, and kind of stir it up because that will help them not to sink to the bottom of the muffins while they're baking. You just want to kind of coat them a little bit with that flour, and that helps suspend them in the muffin mix. And that might not be quite enough. I might need just a hair more. Let me get just a little more and sprinkle on there. Okay. And we'll just stir that in. Make sure they all have some flour on them. And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, they were wet. That's going to make it gummy. No, it won't. They're going to be just fine, and they will stay in that muffin mix. All right. So now we're going to start adding everything. We have our flour already measured out here. We're going to add our sugar. We're going to add our baking powder. And we need 2.5 teaspoons. There's 1. There's 2. And there's about 1/2. All right. So we're finished with that. We need...
Did you add the sugar already?
I did. I added the sugar.
Okay.
Sorry. I need 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to put that right in. I've already done the sugar. I did get that out of order, but that's okay. And I'm going to stir those dry ingredients together a little bit. Just incorporate them a little before we start adding our wet ingredients. Now, you can do this with a hand mixer or a stand mixer, but you really don't have to do that. A spoon or a whisk works just fine. All right, let's start adding our wet ingredients. Now, if you've watched me very much at all, you know I don't like to break my eggs right into whatever I'm fixing, because sometimes you get a piece of shell or maybe a bad egg. Once in a while you will find a bad egg. So I like to break my eggs into a bowl and then add them in. So that's what I'm doing today. We want to get all that egg out of there. I don't want to waste it. All right, so 2 eggs in the pot. We're finished with that. We want our 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Make sure we get all of that out of there. We're going to add 1/4 of a cup of oil. That goes right in. Now we're going to add 1 cup of buttermilk. If you've got, especially if you've got the whole fat buttermilk, you will want to shake it because sometimes it does separate a little. So shake it up some. Shake it up, baby. And 1 cup of buttermilk. If you don't like buttermilk, use it anyway. I don't like buttermilk. Don't like it at all by itself. But I love it when I'm baking and cooking. Nothing better than buttermilk when you're making biscuits or baking something like muffins. Okay, now I'm going to finish zesting my orange. I think some of you have probably seen me do this before. But when you zest an orange or a lemon or anything, you should turn it the way that it looks like it would be upside down. You want the curve going down because as you zest, you want it to catch that zest on top and hold it there. So catch it on the top like that. Now that's not quite half. Let's go one more round with it. And notice that I'm just getting the orange part on top. See, I'm leaving that white. That's bitter. You don't want to get that. All right, that's about half. So I'm going to put that in. All we had to do is turn it over and hit it, and it comes out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and zest the rest of this orange because I'm going to use it in the glaze later. And once I cut this orange to get some of the juice into this mixture, then I would have a really hard time zesting it. So I want to go ahead and zest it before I cut it. And we want to get all that zest off there because that has a lot of good orange flavor. Okay, so I've zested the whole thing. Now I'm just going to lay this up here out of the way and save that for my glaze after a while. All right, so let's cut the orange in half. And I'm going to use half of the juice for I'm just going to use my hands, I think, to catch this. I'm going to use the juice out of half of it in the mix and save the other half for the glaze. Unfortunately, this is not a very juicy orange, but you know, we're getting some out of it, and thankfully there are no seeds, so I'm okay with that. Don't have to worry about catching seeds. All right, now get rid of that. Rinse my hands real quick here. Throw my eggshells away. Okay, we have all of our wet ingredients in, so we can stir that up. Now you notice we don't have our craisins in yet because...
Did you do the vanilla?
Did I not? You're right, I did not. And I think we want, what, 2 teaspoons of that?
That sounds about right. I don't know, I can't remember.
So there's 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. All right, so let's stir that up. Make sure we get everything off the sides. And now we need to put our craisins in. So I'm just going to drop those in. Get all that flour in that I put on them. And now we'll stir those in a little bit. Man, that smells good.
It does, doesn't it?
Good enough to eat. Okay, let me clean up my area here just a second. Move my orange.
We feel a little out of whack not being going.
Yeah, I really do. But you know, this is a beautiful rental house. We are really enjoying being here. This is the first time we have stayed in this particular house. So it's a little different for us. We normally stay in a different house, but the owners used their house this year. How dare them want to use their own house in the winter.
Very inconvenient.
But we are friends of theirs, they're friends of ours, and so we're glad they're here. We went over to their house the other night and played games and ate ice cream and had a good time. So, and this is, their family also owns this house, so it's nice that we can stay in a house that's owned by the same family that we normally stay with. All right, I'm just going to use a cookie scoop to fill these. So I'll just take a scoop of it. And by the way, these are jumbo muffin tins. Now, a regular muffin tin would take about 16 to 18 minutes to bake. But these are jumbos, so they're probably going to take a little longer. I'm going to guess that they're going to take probably 20 to 25 minutes. But we will let you know in case you want to do jumbos. But if you want to just do regular sized muffins, it should take about 16 to 18 minutes. And I don't think those are quite full enough. I'm going to put just a little more in each one because I want a nice rounded top on the muffin. And there are 6 of us eating here tonight. So we do need more than 4 muffins. Let's move this. I have these disposable muffin pans just because they're easier for us to bring with us when we're traveling, after we've used these for our trip here, then I just throw them away and I don't have to worry with hauling them back home. Let's put just another half scoop in that one. These smell so good. You know, a lot of people think about cranberry orange, and for some reason they think about the holidays. And cranberry is known for being a flavor for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But my goodness, cranberry is good any time of the year. So don't be stuck using something just at a certain time of the year because you think it's just for that season. It's not. Now, this will probably make another 2 or 3, maybe even 4 more. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll fix some more after this. Okay, I'm going to put these in the oven. We will set the timer for probably 18 minutes because I just don't want to overbake them. We'll start watching them, but I'm going to guess that it's going to take probably 20 to 22 minutes, maybe even a little longer. But we'll start watching them at about 18 minutes and see.
I have to figure out this oven too. It's
Yeah.
a new oven for us.
It's a brand new oven, so we have to kind of watch it. So we will bake these, and when they're finished, we'll come back. We'll make the glaze with you and let you see what they look like, and we'll do a taste test. So after we cut the video, we realized I forgot to show one other step. So I went ahead and made 4 more muffins since I had more in there. But after you get the muffin mix in there, you really need to put some Craisins on top of your muffins. And that's just for decoration. You just want to be able to see those Craisins on there so that you know it's Craisin and orange muffins. So let's do that. I'm going to scrape this out first because I don't want to waste any of it. And put this in there. Those last 2 may be just a little skimpy, but that's okay. It's better than wasting it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let me set that over there. Get this in. All right. Rinse my finger. Now, after you have your muffins in, you just want to go back and take some of those Craisins you saved and drop those on top. 3 or 4 pieces on each one, just so you can see what they are. And then you may even want to come back and just kind of push them down a little bit so they bake into the muffin. So just come back and kind of tap them lightly. Put them down in there just slightly so that you can see, still see the Craisin, but they're down in the muffin mix, so they'll bake down in there. Okay, now, this time I promise, we are going to the oven. So in we go, 425 for 18 to 22 minutes probably. And then we'll be right back. Our orange cranberry muffins are out of the oven. They have cooled slightly. They're not completely cool. And now we're going to make the glaze to put on top of them. We're going to do 2 cups of powdered sugar. And to that 2 cups, we are going to start with about 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed orange juice. And I just used the orange, the other half of the orange that we used for the muffins. All right, so there's 3 tablespoons. We may need more than that, but we'll see. And we're also going to use the zest from the other half of the orange that we didn't use in the muffins. Now we're just going to stir that up. You don't want it to be too runny. If it's too runny, it's just going to run off your muffins. If it's too thick, then it's not going to run over your muffins at all. So you just have to play with this a little bit until you get it the right consistency. If it's too runny, all you have to do is add a little more powdered sugar. If it's too thick, just add another half tablespoon to a tablespoon of orange juice at a time until it's the right consistency. Now, I can already tell you that this is just a little thick. This would be great to dip the tops in, but we're not dipping them. We're going to drizzle. So it's just a hair thick. So I'm going to put just about half of a tablespoon in and see what that does. We don't want to put too much at a time because you don't want to make it too thin, and then you'd have to add powdered sugar. Oh, that helped a lot. That's really good. I'll make sure it's in there, stirred up really well. Okay, now I'm just going to drizzle this on top of them. Just take a little bit on my spoon and just start to drizzle. Just kind of let it drizzle across. You can dunk these if you want to dip them in the glaze. The problem with that is then you can't really see the cranberries. So if you want to see the cranberries on top, then you kind of have to drizzle. And if you drizzle, it is going to run down the sides some and get on the paper, but that's okay. That's not going to hurt anything. The nice thing about drizzling it like this is you can see that orange zest in there. It looks really pretty. Nope, got too much on my spoon. It's wanting to run off too fast. So just slightly drizzle. All right, I know you don't want to stay here and watch me do a dozen muffins. So I'll stop there and do the rest later. But let's taste one of these. Let's take this one right here. I've got some powdered sugar on me. Hang on. Okay. Let's take the paper off, because I want you to be able to see the whole muffin. Look what a nice muffin.
That looks really nice.
And I'm going to break it open because I'm going to have it on me, but I want you to see the crumb on the inside.
It looks good. And it's nice that the craisins didn't all go to the bottom.
Right, and that's because we put some flour on them. So I'm going to just set that half right there. And I'm going to taste this half. You ready for the first bite?
Sure.
Okay. You want the top?
Yum. That's so good.
Wow. The orange is very noticeable. The craisin has a little bit of a sweet and sour tartness to it. The crumb is perfect. It's not too dense. It's not falling apart. It's really moist. That is just really good. Delicious. I'm gonna eat the rest of this piece.
Our friends are gonna love them.
Yeah. When they get back and we get breakfast made for dinner, they're going to love that. I don't know what I did with, there it is. Couldn't find my dish towel. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. We do appreciate it. You could really help us by going right below the video and clicking the thumbs up. That just says you like the video. What would help even more is if you would go below the video on the right side and click the subscribe button if you've never done that. Now, once you do it, you don't ever have to do that again. And right beside the subscribe button is a little notification bell. If you click it and the word all, YouTube will notify you every time we add a new video. Right below the video, you will see the title of this recipe. It will say Orange Cranberry Muffins. If you click where that title is in that box will expand. Melissa always puts the written recipe in that box so that you have it written out, and our contact information is at the bottom of the box under that. Thank you for your kind comments. Thank you for watching our videos. We do appreciate it. And we want you to remember that no matter whether we're in Kentucky and we're at home, or if we're here in Florida enjoying the warmth and the sunshine, you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.